computer. Recording is in progress. So
Sweet.
people who cannot be here but are looking forward to seeing the recording are Dave Yee, who's a navigation board member, and Riley, who has been working here this afternoon but has to leave right now. And David Bryant may be busy with work, and we're very much looking forward to hearing his feedback because he was involved in helping us with getting up and running.
Yeah, hopefully he joins. We'll see.
Yeah, he was not sure.
Okay.
And then let's see, Sam, I don't know if Sam thinks he's meeting with us. So Sam, I don't know how to reach him. How do I, oh, Sam H. Green. So I'm just gonna let him know. And Julian, Julian. Sent. All right, Sam. Okay, so I think that's everyone because Tom is here and Doug is here and Maya is here and Barb is here. Great. So
Cool.
now that we've gotten that out of the way, I will just make sure people know each other. So Tom is our summer, has been working on mayor's program and videography. And let's see, and Alice and Doug are the parents of Charlie, and they were the financial sponsors for his summer. And
thank you, Mom and Dad.
Is a friend of Charlie's, and she's actually on Nantucket where Riley was a few days ago. And she's an actor. And so someday Tom would like to make a movie with Maggie, I'm sure.
It would be an honor.
And then Jackson has been involved with navigation games for years, and this summer he was he led the mayor's program. And Maya is our our chief of staff and amazing administrator and leader for our nonprofit. Great. So I think we're recording. So Charlie, how do you want to do this? So will you share your screen and give a presentation, and then when it's time for the demo, I can share my screen?
Yeah. Okay. I'm thinking we do the demo halfway through. So here we go. Great, everyone can see? All right, cool. So welcome everybody. I'm excited to talk about everything that I did this summer with Barb and navigation games. So before I even came over there, we talked a lot about what we wanted to get out of the summer. And so for me, as an internship, I wanted to have more skills related to software development. So this was actually a great chance to do that and have some kind of concrete accomplishment at the end, which we were also able to do. And then also helping navigation games in what Barb needed, which was help with operations. So some of the programs that they ran for the kids, and improving this application that they use to teach orienteering. It's called EasyGect. And you all have heard about it by now, those who aren't involved in navigation games, because I've probably talked about it a lot to you guys. And so, yeah, that was my main job, was improving this application. And another goal was learning as much as I could about the organization and how nonprofits function. So keep those main goals in mind as I move through this. So how everything kind of rolled out during the summer was, first, I went to Cambridge and got to participate in a few navigation games events. So I really got to see how they used EasyGect and how we could improve it. So I got there, worked on uploading courses to it, learning how it worked, and then using it for a program for a PE class. And it did give me a chance to see exactly why they needed help. So then we worked on finding solutions. So is there a program already out there that might be better? We did some research to see what kind of technology we could use. Or maybe we could modify the actual code from this one to make it suit our needs. And we ended up getting permission from Thierry, who's French and wrote EasyGect. He gave us permission to use the actual source code, and he sent it to us. So that was really huge for this whole operation. Then we tried to figure out exactly how we were able to edit this code and test it. And David was a huge help with getting us set up with an environment to do that on our computers. And then the majority of July and all of August have been this cycle of developing code and testing it at some programs for navigation games. And we've come up with a huge list of features to add from all of these tests and talking with members of navigation games. So first thing I did was learn what EasyGect is. And this is an instance of EasyGect. So at first, it definitely is pretty daunting. That's one thing that we want to fix, is not have a million buttons at first. But what it does is it lets us load courses, and a course is just a list of control numbers. So we load courses, kids have one of these that they use to punch all the controls, and then at the end, they come over to our computer that we have set up. They punch it into a little reader that scans the information, and we have it set to display either a smiley face or a frowny face, depending on how they did. That's how it worked at the beginning of the summer. And that way, it's a lot of quick feedback so that these kids can see how they did and then get back out to running and trying again. But there were definitely a lot of things that needed work on. So over the course of the summer, there were 3 separate times that I went to Cambridge to help run events and keep seeing improvements to the program each time. So for example, this is a picture from a program at Brookline. And this was the most recent time that we tested it in the field. And one thing that we found is that we really need the program to be able to tell these kids if they didn't hit like a start or finish control. So that's crucial to how long you actually take to do the whole course. And a lot of kids forget all the time because they just want to get right back out there because they have a sheet that says like go to all these controls, and so they forget a lot of the time. And EasyGect would display like a completely wrong number and not care if they hit the start or finish. So that's something that we found during this specific program. And me and Barb actually implemented it the next day. So yeah, this cycle of development definitely needed me to be there for a few programs in person to learn a lot about what the kids needed. So this application is where I did most of the developing. This is just an example of some code that I wrote. And it looks complicated. That's definitely how I felt at first. And so it was really helpful to have David there to explain to me and Barb how to get it up and running. So David, our consultant, was really helpful in all of that. So our process was to edit this code. We could run it on our computer, and I had card and a card reader to test exactly what it does when you scan it. So I could do that from Burlington, where I lived for most of the summer. And another technology that we used is called Git. So this is just like how Google Docs has like a version history. This is what Git is for programming. And this is how me and Barb can keep track of it and work separately on our own computers to contribute to the code. And this is like an industry standard technology in like all of software development. It's probably the biggest version control system. And I got some great experience using this. And this is a skill that's going to be really, really helpful in the future for me. So those are like the two main technologies that I use, got a lot better at, is Git and IntelliJ. So some of my big takeaways and skills that I got better at: Git, IntelliJ, the two that I just explained. Developing in a team, so having communication, having frequent meetings, figuring out process with Barb. Barb was the main person that I communicated with in all of this. And also the process of actually designing these features, figuring out what the problem is, what potential solutions are, how to implement them, and then how to deploy these changes in this application and test it and keep repeating. So this process, I kind of worked on each step of it. Whereas I feel like a lot of internships right now, you might only get experience at one level. But something huge for me is that I got to see the entire process. So what Barb's hoping is that we have more interns and more things like this where we can continue to improve EasyGect or other technologies. We've compiled a huge list of new features to add. At the top, this is one that I really want to see soon, but I don't have enough time to implement, is a new view. So as you saw, that last one was really, really complicated. And when we want new organizations or PE classes to use this, we don't want a teacher being so confused that they don't know how it works. And there's only a few buttons that are really necessary. So making a simplified view, that is my pick on the top priority feature. Also, creating some content for new interns to get up and running really fast. So making videos of how to install IntelliJ, interface Git so that you can get going right away. And I really hope that you can get some more interns soon, Barb. I think that would be awesome because I feel like there's a lot that I still want to do. And I would love to just be in the loop if you have everyone improving it. So I think it's time for a demonstration. Barb is going to be sharing her screen because I don't have enough controls over here.
Great.
Awesome. Okay, so here is an instance of EasyGect. Awesome. So our first situation, I believe we're going to set up a course and it has two controls, 31 and 32. And so Barb is going to load an SI card, one of these things, with the controls 31 and 32, making sure to hit the start and finish. And then punch it into the card reader. And also put it on smiley view, Barb. Awesome. Awesome. So that's what happens when you get a course correct, and it's really fun for all the kids to see.
Yeah,
a
and I
lot
just
of
want to
different-
say that this has been really helpful for us, especially when we're working with classes of like 20 kids, because they like once they get once they understand what they need to do, they can just like cycle through, and it's sort of self-service. They get a correct answer, they get the happy face and the yay, and then they can go on and pick their next map or their next clue sheet or whatever they're doing next, and then start, so that they can sort of asynchronously just run around and keep going. And then the teacher can focus on the kids who have some kind of a problem, like they didn't do it right, which you'll see in a second.
Right. Okay. So as Barb said, next one is if they get it incorrect. So we're going to repunch that SI card and just have one of the controls on it. So they're going to miss one. And before, the program would only display a frowny face and not give any more information. And so one thing that we've done is told the kids exactly which control they missed. So as you saw right over there.
I'm just
Perfect.
gonna do it one more time.
So in this case, Barb didn't punch the second control. And so now the kids know that, and they don't have to go ask someone what they did wrong. They can try the course again for themselves and learn on their own. So it frees up
I just
a lot of manpower to run these.
name of a course. Yeah, cool. Sorry.
Awesome. So we're also able to, as I said before, the last program that I attended, we noticed that the kids were getting really confused when they didn't hit a start or finish control because it wasn't able to tell them. So that's a new feature that we added that Barb's gonna demonstrate.
So I'll do the correct course controls, but not hit start, right?
Yeah.
So they know that they got the right answer, but they just missed the start control. Question, Charlie, what happens if they didn't get the right controls and didn't hit start? Then what happens?
I think it just displays the same face.
Let me see. Clear. No start, just 31, finish, and mini reader. Oh, that's excellent. Okay, great.
Oh, yeah, it displays the sound that corresponds with it, but
Yeah.
it tells them if they missed it. Okay. And same thing for the finish that Barb's gonna do.
Okay, so I do hit start and 31 and 32, but I don't hit finish. I just hit mini reader.
Cool. And then in this case, kids can easily go back and just punch it into the finish control
Right, finish.
and then go back and read it again.
Cool.
Awesome. And then
No, sorry, 1 second. In both cases, miss start and miss finish. Is the color different between miss start and miss finish? Because Maya wasn't looking at my screen. Can you?
Oh, I was, but
Oh,
I couldn't.
it's the same face.
It's the same face. Should there be a different face?
yeah. Charlie,
Yeah.
after this meeting, let's like just talk through the exact behavior that we want for those.
Okay.
And also in the case that they got them all right and didn't, in combination with whether they've missed start or finish.
Yeah. So we're still in the design process.
Do you hear that exit?
Right.
And...
Awesome. And another very significant change that we made is there's actually another view, which is the tabular view, which doesn't display smiley faces. Do you want to toggle it really quick, Barb? And
Yep.
then you can just put the correct control. You can just punch it as it is right now. Cool. So it shows exactly what controls are on that card. So the code D is the start one. It's French for something, right, Barb?
Départ. Start.
Yeah, there you go. And A is finish.
Arrivé, finish.
Thank you. And it has exactly what time you punched it and split times between the different ones. And it has your running time. So all the information that you need. And so the way we use this is to figure out exactly where someone went wrong. So what we're going to do is load the card with some other information.
So I'll do 31 and 33
Mhm.
and then finish.
Awesome. So this is a case where the course had codes 31 and 32, but someone may have made a mistake and hit 31 and 33, and maybe they don't know where they went wrong because they say, no, I hit that miscontrol. What happened? So we can go in, hit this tabular view, and now the extra controls that they punch that aren't on the course, they appear in blue. So 33 is in blue, and 32, which is missed, is in red. So this is a way that we can really efficiently identify a problem and then get people back out running, trying again. One thing that this does, however, is kind of hold up the line. So the computer's occupied. People can't get their other results while we do this. So that's something that we're working on too as a new feature. So yeah, these are some of the things that we've implemented that make it a lot easier and make the kids have a little more autonomy in how they learn and do this orienteering with EasyGect. And there's definitely a lot more improvements to make, but I think we've done a lot of the grunt work about getting some infrastructure set up to do software development for EasyGect now. Great. So thanks for the demonstration, Barb.
Yep. So I will stop sharing and ask if anyone has any questions or comments. Alice, can you unmute yourself?
I'd be happy to. Thank you, Charlie. That was really interesting. I'm curious if you're still in touch with Thierry, is that his name?
Yeah, we are. So
are you informing him about the changes and
Mhm.
talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So the timeline, and we were really lucky that Terry is such a nice person. So he gave us permission to use his code and to edit it. And we've been keeping him updated that we're using it. We're trying to improve it for our own operation. I sent him a blog post that I made about it on the Navigation Games website. And then recently we asked him if our code that we've edited, if we can make it public so that other people can also use it. And he said, yeah, we can. And so that's something that is huge for me because now I have a concrete public repository on GitHub that I can show other people as like an achievement. So it's big for a lot of different reasons, but yeah, we're still in contact with him and he's helping us out all the time.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Dad.
So I have a question about how this is kind of used. So I assume that this would be on a laptop at an event, and those really cool sort of that feedback and guidance. Does the person who's doing the orienteering, for example, the kid, they come back and they would see the screen, and that screen is what they see as whatever, that feedback or whatever? Is that how that works?
Yeah, a lot of times the teacher can just walk away from the computer, doesn't even have to mind it until somebody has a problem. Yeah. So
like in this situation, if I'm like a kid running, right, and you're EasyGect, so I can just punch it in and it's like on this computer, and this thing is just sitting on a bench somewhere. So kids, and it's plugged in the computer. So kids punch it and then see the result and then zoom back to try again or get another course.
Very cool.
So yeah, a staff member doesn't need to be there. And if they're around, then they only need to intervene if someone needs help. Right?
What you didn't see is what it was like before.
Right.
So what it was before is you needed an adult sitting next to
To
it
kind of manage it.
and explaining to the kid, oh, you missed the second control.
Right.
So in effect, what this allows, I mean, this looks great because the kid can read the face.
Right.
The younger kids will read the face and hear the sounds and then start recognizing the comments as
Right.
well. So, you know, and like Barb or Charlie said, they pick up the clicking very quickly.
Right.
But it's really that making sure they get the feedback and they can interpret it.
Right. Super interesting.
So it's, yeah, this is incredible. And I'm excited because we work with Cambridge Public Schools. And one of the things they've asked for is EasyGect improvements. So when we go and we can say, hey, look,
We've executed.
they will be super excited.
That's awesome.
So Charlie, what you did is just, it will be used in like within a month. And you will have third grade Cambridge kids excited from the feedback.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And you know, we had more faces, so
Yes.
hopefully they like that.
Mm.
Maggie, don't forget to unmute yourself.
I'm wondering if your overnight in the woods in California, how it related to your work or if it related at all. I don't know if the software that you use when you actually compete in an orienteering competition is similar or not, but I'm curious about how that fit into the internship.
Yeah, they don't use EasyGect, but they use similar technology to read the information from these. And they use this company is called Sport Ident, and that's they kind of have a monopoly on all the hardware in orienteering, right, Barb? So we use that kind of technology, but yeah, it wasn't exactly the same at all, and there was adults instead of kids.
Yeah, so for the audience, Charlie participated in a 24-hour orienteering race called a Rogaine, which is a team event where instead of going point to point in a prescribed order like you normally do in orienteering, you can choose your challenge. You choose which checkpoints you visit and in what order. And he and I and his dad did that together. So I think the value of that maybe for Charlie, among other things, was to see like what is sort of high level orienteering like, because we're always trying to keep that in mind when we're designing things for the kids, so that eventually they could you know, like the skills that they learn, we want to break down those skills for advanced orienteering and think about how to turn it into games to develop skills for younger kids.
Yeah, one thing I'll also say is that like my map reading skills got way better because I didn't have that much experience reading maps before, and then I got like a whole 24 hours of experience at once. I think that helped when I went to a program and I was able to like teach the kids how to read the map. I think I was a lot better at that. Also, the Rogaine in general is probably one of the highlights of the summer. Would definitely do again. I recommend it. Mom?
I mean, this is so cool, and I have so many questions, but one of them I'm curious about. So to do this program, to do this work this summer, you had to use computer science skills you've been learning in school, but also just kind of problem solving skills and mindset and, you know, all those kinds of things. And I'm curious, like, how did you work through challenges? Like, you know, if you got really stuck and Barb or David weren't around to help, what were some of the things you drew on to help you through a challenge?
ChatGPT was huge, I will say, especially for like computer science problem solving. It's very helpful in that regard. Just coming up with like different solutions that you can try and explaining it, explaining like a unique problem in a way that's easy to understand. I found it really helpful to write things down, like on paper. Like I had a little notebook that I used a lot, just like to organize my thoughts, because I was on a computer a lot of the time, and after a while, you like become a little bit brain dead. I think everyone knows that feeling. So yeah, writing it down was really helpful. And talking it out when I could. So yeah, those were a few things that I used.
The chat GPT was interesting. We kind of got the bug from David on that and saw him use it effectively in trying to solve some of the technical problems. And it doesn't just give you the right answer. Sometimes it gives you the wrong answer, like the opposite. But if you then tell it, oh, that didn't work, and here's the error message I got, what we learned from David is you can do that. You can give it the error message and say, and it'll go, oh, sorry, you're right. And then give you another suggestion that might be helpful. So that was pretty interesting to me. I learned that as well this summer.
Yeah. I definitely learned a good amount of chat GPT from David. Just how he approaches it. It's really helpful. Because it's like he has the mind for it kind of. It's really misleading because it talks to you like it's human, but it's like, yeah, it's the opposite. And so you just need to like kind of wrap your head around it, and then it's easier to use it to problem solve. Any other questions? Yeah, go.
Last one. Is there a particular course you took at Middlebury that you really drew on to do this? I'm particularly interested in that course that you were taking, I think, fall semester of last year that was so hard. Did you draw on anything from that really tough course or any other course that was helpful?
So that really tough one was systems programming, which is not, that's the one I took in the fall. And systems is like interacting a lot with the actual operating system. And definitely when we were trying to download some like sport ident hardware, software, and like drivers and stuff like that, that like kind of knowledge was helpful, but we didn't end up actually being successful there. That class, it taught me that I didn't want to be a system programmer really. So in the spring, I took software development, which was more web development. So not quite the same, but like really, really helpful for this and the processes that I used. And I took algorithms. I will say algorithms did help me during one of the problems that I faced this summer. Just the way to approach trying to create an algorithm to solve something. I think that mindset translated a lot. And my software development class in the spring, I think it gave me some experience working in a team and using Git, and all of it translated pretty well. So I wasn't just like completely drowning at the start. I like was pretty confident coming into this that I could figure out a good process. And I think I did. And I think I got a lot better at that process. So if I took those courses again, I think I would do like a lot better in them. So yeah, this was a really good experience in that sense.
We only have a couple minutes left of our Zoom time. Maggie, quick question.
Has this internship shaped your thinking about how you want to put your computer science, generally speaking, and software development skills to use going forward? Specifically, the mission of the organization that you work for?
Good question. Yes, definitely. I want to be able to actually like experience changes that I've made. So ideally, I wouldn't be creating that much for like other people, like a contracting type of thing. I would want to be invested in my organization's mission if I end up doing software development for a specific company. So like some causes that I'm interested in, or just I want the results to contribute somehow to change that I can see. also, it definitely made me more open to working with kids because they're so cute. And I had a lot of fun at some of the programs working with them. That was definitely a highlight, this last one. Yeah, but I don't have any super strong feelings of jobs in the future. I'm gonna finish school first.
Thank you all very much. Thanks for your
Yeah,
support,
thank
Charlie.
you for coming, everybody.
And Charlie, thank you for, that was a really great experience this summer, and it really helped move us forward in it. And you've also enabled us so that we can continue developing it, which is pretty fantastic. So thanks for all of that.
All right, thank you, Charlie.
Yay. All right.
Thank you, Charlie.
Yeah, thanks for coming,
Good
guys.
job, Charlie.
See you all later.
Good job, Charlie.